Going on, team? How we doing out there? Hope you guys are coming on in, starting to join on up. I know cannabis is going a little bit over, so we should be getting some people to join on up in a little bit. So let's go ahead. Let's just get it started. Today, we're going to talk about explaining the sentiment of the overall market, the SPY stocks, what industries already making moves, and of course, why chemicals should be on your radar. Stick around, guys. We got a lot to talk about right here on Money Mitch.
It's time for Money Making Mitch. When investors need a story, we're going to the moon. Welcome to Money Mitch, where story is everything. I'm here to find you the next opportunity. It's all about the green hands. Now we all know the bull market is here to stay. Money Mitch.
All right, guys, you guys should be joining on in from the Cannabis Hour. I'm looking for the numbers to jump. I need you guys to help me out. Hit that like button. There is way too little people watching right now. I mean, we don't do this show for no reason. This is where the money is, guys. Let's get to it. I'm trying to make some money. I don't know about you guys, but money is calling out there. Let's go ahead. Let's dive right into it, see what we see out in the market and what is making moves. All right, let's get into the overall market here. Let's take a look here at the SPY. What are we looking at? We're looking at the green and red levels. Look how we're starting to get back above this 438 level. That's very important for us. Today, we actually got above it. Now starting to slightly tick above that. As you can see, we did get our def cross, so we're looking to see if the 50 can come back above the 200-day, and that would definitely be a bullish sign. I think you get a little bit of pullback tomorrow, of course, because there's a resistance right around this area, but we'll see what happens if we do get that pullback in the overall market. The market has been going on up 3 days in a row, so I do want to just go ahead and state that. 3 days in a row. We'll see if it turns around tomorrow. If we get another day, of course, there's going to be the bulls coming out roaring. So we'll see what happens to see if the bears knock it down from these levels off the resistance there on the SPY. Of course, what kind of stocks did well today? We'll go into some of that. The Qs, let's take a look at the Qs. How are the Qs doing? They're bouncing back. We'll see if it can get back above 350. That's where I could see them running into some resistance and then keeping the trend going. Of course, a lot of people are trying to call the bottom right now in the SPY. The real question is, are these just kind of these tops here in a bearish tape here? The big thing is, do we take out 420 on the downside again? If we come back to those levels, that's where I really be looking for that downside, just completely letting off the horse and watching it fall through that level. But if we don't, and we hold 428 tomorrow, I think you are going to start seeing some people really taking some shots. The FOMO will hit and people will start going crazy into the next week. Of course, we got the interest rate hike rate. It was just 0.25. We'll see what happens in the overall market. Let's get into some of these sectors that right now are making moves and where the hot stocks are. Looks like we got finally now 99 people joining in here. There was only 20 of you a few seconds ago. So if you guys could do me the favor, hit the like. Let's try to get to 50 likes today. Looks like we only got 97 right there. Looks like 17 likes. Let's go. Let's get it on up there. See if we can get it up to 50 likes. And let's dive into some of these industries. Of course, I do want to give you guys some insight. I am going to be interviewing DM, Desktop Metals, guys. Desktop Metals actually has been making a move on up recently. Take a look at this. It just started pushing on up. And I looked and saw kind of CEO buy here also. So stay tuned, guys. I'm going to be getting into an interview tomorrow with the CEO. This is going to be a recording that I'm going to put out here on Money Mitch, but I need you guys to get some questions. So if you guys do have some questions and want to get at me, definitely go ahead and you can reach out on this link here and add a question so that I can go ahead and give a question to DM from you guys. I want you guys to get an opportunity to ask the CEO questions. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into some of these industries that did well today. Basic materials, Boom, baby. Starting to push back on up. We talked about this on the daily, how we kept getting in multiple highs. We even drew this box. We drew this box to look for a push back on in there. We drew this box on February 21st. So it's been a while since we were looking for this to break through there. Now we're really getting that breakthrough. What moved today? Of course, aluminum pushing again, coal pushing, gold pushing again, steel really taking off there and going to another level there. If you wanted to take a look at coal, of course, CEIX, one of the names that I've been giving for a while, went sideways here for a couple of days. Now you can see that big break on out today. Nice 10% move. BTU doing the same thing. Sideways action a couple of days and now pushing on up there through the 2161s. That's what I love. I'm going to be watching tomorrow. If we can get back on through 22 tomorrow, I'd be looking at BTU for a long. We'll see if we're able to nail that coal play. Want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat. Of course, some loyals like always. We got the Blind Trader in the house, Born in the house, Chris Woods, Tiny Pie, Jim Cruz, Beach Bum in the house, Jay Rice. Yup. All the loyals right here sticking around, and I appreciate you guys for coming on in and watching some Money Mitch. Let's go ahead. Let's look at some other areas that we should be watching. Industrials really starting to take on off now. If we take a look at the daily chart, I've been calling out how this one wanted to make a bottom, couple bottoming actions here. Now we're really starting to see the flip. And when did this start? This started on Monday. Monday is when you really started seeing that flip in the sector overall, up about 5%. Let's take a look at farm heavy construction. This is one that we've been calling out. It was right over here when we started taking a look at it. Now look where we're at. We're right back to those highs. What are names like this? Today I talked about Deere on my channel. I said on live trading, I said, do we get on up there to the next level here and get through the 400? Today, Deere ripping through that 400, giving us that nice close. And take a look at CAT. I said, look at this one. This one we gave on March 1st. Actually, March 1st, the 2nd, on Tuesday. That's when we started looking at the monthly candles. And look at this, man. Since that's a 21% gain there on Caterpillar. Keep these on watch. I think they're going to keep pushing. And you can watch some other ones start taking on off. I take a look at this PACR, PACAR. Look for this one to start pushing through 91s tomorrow if you want to take a look at some of the ones that are lagging behind. Other areas you can take a look at, of course, you got this rentals that have been taking off, stocks like Car taking off, HTZ that we called out, Hertz. We've called this move on out since March 10th. We were looking at Hertz to start making a move. It's pushing, and I think with that Car move, you could potentially see a squeeze in Hertz. What's going on, Ashton? Toffee, what's going on, guys? If you guys got a stock you guys want to take a look at, definitely throw it up in the chat. All right, let's keep going. And why you should be looking at, of course, basic materials and chemicals. I'm going to call out here now. I think these are the ones you want to be watching. I do think they're setting on up some of the stocks that are making moves right now. I did take one today, guys. I took ORGN here in the chemicals industry. And why I did like the daily setup, I already had this line drawn on out. I fixed it today. As you can see, the updated from 317. And then also you see they're created on March 10th. I was watching this one since the 10th, and that was before this move. So we got that big push on up on the 10th there, pull back, couple days sideways, was looking for a push through 640s today. We got 646. Now this is already up over 10% for us. We're going to be looking for this to kind of make a big push tomorrow into maybe 750s, but definitely take some profit. What are some other trades that we got into today? CVX. This is one that I actually got stopped out in and then eventually came back in it. Tried to get it out the gates, eventually getting stopped out here on this down move. And then I grabbed it when we got back above VWAP. I grabbed it at 159.30s there, and it just started taking on off. It went up there towards a high of, let's see the high today. The high was pretty much 161. Made a nice little move on up. I'm going to look for Chevron definitely to hold the support right underneath it around 159.05s. If it can keep holding that 159.05, we're going to hold on to the swing trade and see if we can get the move back up in oil. All right, Bumble stock being mentioned in the chat. I'll get into that. and let's go ahead. What do you all recommend in terms of sectors in which to make money in an increasing interest rate environment? Great question, Beach Bum. Let's take a look at that. I actually like that question. One of the things that I like to do a lot of the times is looking at what we can make some money in and looking forward out, right? And what really can make that move. So what I'd call out first is there's a couple of things that I'm looking for, and increasing interest rate environment, definitely what happens there is companies that borrow money, of course, it becomes more expensive to borrow that money. So look for those kind of companies that struggle, high growth companies. And we'll get into your question next, Richard, there. But so what I would look for in an increasing rate environment is, of course, the financials. This is where you want to be looking. And if you take a look here, what happened in the last 3 days, you got a nice up move in the financials. So you can start taking a look at some of these names to see if you're going to start getting a lift. So like Visa, of course, you can take a look at that. That's actually a strong chart. I like that sideways action there if it can get through 215. And I'm finally going to start pulling off the red flags in PayPal and Square, because I think this news alone is finally going to start affecting it towards the upside. And why? Because of the increasing interest rate environment. So let's take a look at some of the other ones that you guys can take a look at. Let's take a look at some of the ones that did good today. Today you had a software name do good today, but let's go into financial services here. Let's do what moved the most today. Insurance. Let's look at global banks here. See what's setting on up here in the global banks. So let's take a look. JPM starting to come back on up, looking strong. BAC definitely starting to look a little bit stronger there. You want to get it back above the 200-day. These are the ones that I'd kind of keep on watch right now. HSBC, this one looks a little bit stronger, could push back towards 35, but this one's gaps up a little bit too much. You can take a look at Citigroup. That's starting to bottom out there at 57. We'll see if this can start pushing towards 60. But these are the ones that I'd be watching in a kind of interest rate environment where you can see the lift. Another area where I'm trying to take a look is in consumer defensives. You can see how these started to come on up the last couple of days. The ones that I'm looking at are like farm products. I've talked about these. I think you could see a big lift in these because of inflationary kind of environment. ADM, this one looks really strong. Just made a nice little push in the after hours. Take a look at this one tomorrow to see if it continues to make a run. But I do like this kind of just daily flag pattern right here going on up, giving you a nice bullish engulfing look. Could keep making pushes. Tyson Food, look for that to get strong. You can take a look at some other ones too. Dole, DOLE. We'll take a look at these farm products to see if they start pushing. All right, let's go to Rich here. What about housing stocks? Housing stocks, I think, are actually going to suffer, but it's going to take a while to show on up. So I think you could see a push in real estate and then all of a sudden a big drop. So just be careful for me. I think real estate are some that you just got to make your money and get on out. I think right now you are seeing a little bit of a push. So keep your eyes on stocks like American Tower Corp. I do see that push today, but I'm just not in the biggest kind of bullish sense with a higher interest rate environment for kind of housing stocks. But hey, I could be wrong. At least in my knowledge, it wouldn't make sense for them to continue driving up if we have an outlook of continuous interest rate hikes. If it was just one being mentioned on the table, okay. But we have what? Every meeting coming on up, there's supposedly going to be an interest rate hike. At least that's the overall outlook and probability. And to me, that doesn't show upside in the real estate sector. But hey, to each his own. We'll see what happens. All right, let's take a look at some other stocks here. Take a look at CLNE. Been a bag holder since 16. That sucks, man. I know how it be. I know how it is. I'm in a bag holding position too. Haven't done it often, but you get caught sometimes. To me, I think you really need to get back above that 864 level. Looked like it wanted to crack hard today. So that candle from Friday, make sure that it starts holding that weekly candle. I was on the weekly, so I didn't see Friday's candle there. So 703, so that's $7. It needs to continue holding. I do like clean energy, though, right now. And so this is why you're starting to see some interest show up in this name. I would keep this one on watch. I do think it's an interesting name, especially with the clean energies being mentioned. I like some solar names right now, so I understand why you're watching this. Look at EMPH today, really strong. You could take a look at Beam, really strong. Run getting strong, looking like it wants to just break on out. Soul looking like it wants to come back. SPWR. I'm going to be looking at all these solar names. I do think that you're getting kind of this ESG kind of movement. So if you're in clean, hey, not a bad one to take a look at. Only asked because it moved up higher and held. Richard, it's not a bad question. It's a good question to ask about housing stocks. I'm actually a little confused. I know there's some people that are bullish. And if you are bullish housing stocks, explain me your view, because that's what it's all about. I try to pay attention to these views, these outlooks, see if it makes sense with my knowledge, and then try to start lining up the outlook, right? And so to me, that was industrials, and I'm going to keep looking at industrials. But if you're looking at, let's say, housing, hey, power to you. Just would like to know why. All right, let's keep going. Do you think all the credit card companies buy now will suffer from increasing defaults? Yes and no, because what will happen too is there's going to be increasing defaults, but there's also going to be what? Increased spending on those credit cards. So yes, there will be some defaults, but as we all know, I don't think that's going to be the worry, really. I think you're going to see more of a lift because of kind of people taking that approach, right? And so, like, let's say the buy now, pay later, right? Affirm. I don't really like this stock because I think it's just way too overvalued. But now you're getting to prices that are way below the IPO low. And so maybe this is one that you actually start dipping your toes in if you think the buy now, pay later really takes off. We'll see what happens. To me, I'm not going to take a shot on it. I don't really like the service. I don't like the company here. But hey, to each his own. I understand why you would be looking at it. And there's a lot of people looking at it for a long term. All right, Born, have a good one, man. We'll keep going. Eagle, what's going on, man? How you doing? All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at some other areas to watch. I wanted to take a look at how airlines did today and the reopening trade. Was looking for potentially shorting these from the highs, and you can see they're holding up pretty well. This is holding up to 650s, 1650s pretty well. If this breaks down through 16 tomorrow, we could potentially look for these to come back down. But I just don't understand how the airlines are going to do good in a raising oil environment. To me, I think with the prices of oil going to where they're going, airlines are just going to struggle. I know they're going to probably increase their prices to kind of get around this, but we'll see what happens. Airbnb was another one that I was going to take a look at today to see how the reopening trade's going on there. It's looking well, looking like it wants to get through 160. We'll keep this one on watch. Of course, Hilton's another one that we've been watching. It get back up through the 144s, looking like it wants to get to 158 again. We'll see if these can make moves on up. All right, let's go ahead. Companies that benefit from spring break should do well. You know, yeah, I think you will see like let's say like these Hilton and airlines did well. I mean, I can tell you guys, I just traveled. The airports are packed, but my only problem is the prices of oil and how that's going to affect the prices of airlines tickets going into, let's say, the summer and going into, of course, winter, where a lot of people travel. I think this time in winter, it's going to be very hard to travel because the oil prices will probably be skyrocketed. And then that's going to go ahead and affect the prices of the tickets themselves. I'll see what happens. I want to be bullish airlines, but then when the war started, it just completely flipped that thinking. All right, y'all best to stay light in airlines. Hey, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think rising prices, yeah, but can they get around all those rising prices in oil too? The expenses are going up. All right, let's go ahead. Let's see what happens. Reopening won't last long. Another variant on the way, says Hertz. Yeah, it could very much happen, right? Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at some other trades here. Technology really having a good day. But I saw a lot of these software names going up, and these are a lot of the ones that I think have really high short interest. And what I mean is not actually short interest on the stock. It's just a lot of people are trying to short these names. So keep your eyes on some of the leaders like Intuit, SAP, CRM. You want to see these continue to kind of lead the party and lead the way up so that you can see these other kind of follow, like Shop, Team, Uber. There's a lot of these software names there. Asana. You want to find a low. HubSpot. That's HBS. There you go. HUBS. Look at that one just bouncing right there. Sideways action, consolidation. We'll see if this one can get back below or does it get back into the 500 area tomorrow. Take a look at some of these software and applications. I do think they're getting some volatility to really make them move. What do you think about Oxy? Oxy being mentioned in the chat. I think it's a good play because, I mean, I went long on CVX, Chevron Group today. So if you're going long on Oxy, I think that's not a bad one to take a look at. Definitely had a good day, held the 5-minute pullback. If we take a look at the 15-minute, we're going to see that nice VWAP push up above the VWAP, then holding the VWAP on the retrace, getting up there towards the 58. We'll look for a move towards 60 tomorrow in Oxy. Big resistance right up there towards the 60s. We'll see if it gets through that. And one of the things that I did like is the increase in volume after 2 sideways consolidation days. That's what you'd like to see. Now we'll see it try to take out the 60. All right, Shannon said, before you go today, is there a BZ email I could message you later about Benzinga sort of issues I've been having? Just looking for some direction, who I should contact. You're my last hope. Hey, Shannon, it's as simple as this. If it's a Benzinga Pro issue, I would actually probably send you straight directly to Ryan Faluna. But if it's a question about Benzinga, definitely come to me. If not, I will refer you to who you need to get your question answered. And that's an easy way to do it. Is just, you guys can always email me, Mitch@benzinga.com. That's all you got to do. Mitch@benzinga.com. Email me. If you ever got a question, feedback on my shows, feedback on another show. If you want to see some changes, let me know. That's what we're here for. We're here for you guys out there. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up in about 4 minutes. I'll take some stocks from the chat here. Like always, definitely hit up that email if you guys have some feedback. Oxy is a good one. Let's take a look here. Why chip makers struggle today? I think that one has to do with the interest rates. It's interest rates going up, and they're just going to continue struggling. But there's also supply chain concerns, right, with situations that are going on in Taiwan and China. I think that you're not seeing the real focus in these tech stocks. I think that it's kind of like a tech trap right now. You're going to see some of these kind of come down and the stocks kind of move up. To me, I'm keeping an eye out on bigger tech names. But for right now, I don't think they're in favor. Avepoint being mentioned in the chat. Let's go take a look here at Avepoint. Avepoint is someone that essentially works with Microsoft Teams and Microsoft 365. It pretty much has to do with kind of cloud computing and background. We've talked about this. We've actually interviewed this stock on SPACs Attack, and we're going to look to see if it can really get back above 6. I'm not going to get too excited on Avepoint until it gets to that level. Once it gets to that level, then we'll go ahead and pay attention to it. BTU still worth holding. I mean, we talked about BTU. We'll look for it to get back above 2160s. 20 has been that support for it. And so to me, at least right now, it's always up to you. It depends on your entry, right? I mean, that's always what it's going to be about. But to me, I do like that it's holding that 20 support. And so for me, if I was close to that 20, I'd be feeling confident and I'd be looking for a move back towards 25. But like always, do your own risk assessment and your own reward assessment. We'll see what happens. I'm down in BTU, but hoping it will rise in the long term. Is it worth it? Well, it's been definitely a stock that I could see coming back and taking out the highs because of the supply chain issues that are out there right now. But the question is it going to do it right now? Nobody knows. Really always just determine where you're in. And sometimes if you get caught at the top, it's okay to get out and look for a re-entry. I think that's an important thing to mention because sometimes people just get caught and then they hold. That's how you become a bag holder, is not setting a risk. There needs to be some kind of risk in your trade. If there's no kind of risk, I promise you, you'll let it just kind of leak. Next thing you know, You're holding a bag. I don't want that to happen to you. I like BTU. I'm still positive, but I also don't want to see you holding onto a bag if you don't understand where your risk spot is. So, like always, determine what that is. Fast disaster. All right, guys, that's probably going to do it for me, guys. Like always, we're going to keep building here on Money Mitch. We're going to keep doing new things. I got some kind of insight for you guys. I actually went over to Austin, Texas. You guys know about that. I put it up on my Twitter, and there's going to be an interview coming out soon. So, shh. Don't tell the secret, guys. Don't tell the secret. If you guys know what that is in the background, don't tell the secret to everyone. You guys will know first because you're here, right here on Money Mitch. Like always, I said earlier, guys, going to do an interview on Desktop Metals tomorrow. So if you guys want to go ahead and get some questions asked to Desktop Metals, and the only place that you can really do this is by, of course, answer to that Twitter post. Desktop Metals also reposted it. So did we on Benzinga. You guys asked some questions. The only place where retail investors truly get to ask the questions is right here on Benzinga. So do me the favor, drop that link right in the chat and ask, what do you think about DM? All right, what is that ticker for software? Can't find IX 2330s. So what you're seeing here is so this is all about this is all on TC2000. TC2000 is what I use for charting. So really these are just indexes. So if you see that IX thing, it's just an index. It's an index of all the stocks that are following in that kind of description. And so they throw them all in an index so you can follow them. And that's why you see that IX. You're not going to be able to do that in your own charting. You'd have to do that on TC. But you can find other ways to do this, right? You can use ETFs. I just like using the index here because it's very easy, as you can see, to move from, like, let's say coal, and then look through all the coal names. And then look to see if I find a trend. Because that's what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for stocks that are starting to trend, and we can jump on them and try to get a nice momentum ride on up. We'll see what happens on these. Hope that helped out. And like always, guys, smash the like. I'll see you guys next time. I'll see you tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow's Friday, man. I'm taking the day off, guys. I'll see you guys back on Monday. I'm going to be doing my interview on Desktop Metals. And to give a shout out to all my Super League gaming fans out there, SLGG, yes, my slug fans out there. Monday, I will be talking to Ann Hand right here on Money Mitch. We are action-packed, going to keep going, guys. Desktop Metals, Super League Gaming, so much more coming through next week. I got so much to give you guys. You guys do me the favor. Just smash that like and stay right here on Money Mitch. See you next time, guys.